In 1981, when I was articling as a law student, I had a part-time job with then MP for Vancouver East, Margaret Mitchell. On two separate occasions, two senior Chinese gentlemen came to Margaret's office seeking help. One was Mr. Dak Leung Mark, Mr. Mark, whose father paid head tax for him to come to Canada. And at that time, since Canada repatriated the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, Mr. Mark was very impressed. And he thought, well, now was the right time to take his head tax certificate to the Canadian government and say that since now you want to declare that Canada should treat everyone equally despite their racial origin, then you should recognize that the head tax that was levied against me and which my father paid for me was unjust. You should not have collected it, and that now, since you know what is right, you should really refund my money with interest. At about the same time, another senior Chinese gentleman came to us. In his case, he was also a head taxpayer, but he was not asking for the money back. He was quite distraught at the time because he was alone because of the Chinese Immigration Act at the time when he was here. Prohibited him to bring over his wife and his son. And he was trying to apply for his grandson to immigrate from China. Of course, his application was denied, and he went to Margaret Mitchell seeking her help to see if, for compassionate reasons, the Canadian immigration might consider, because he was a head taxpayer, that they would allow his application for his grandson to come and join him. So Margaret also felt that it was a very appropriate case to help. So in September of 1983, I drafted a letter for Margaret. Margaret signed it. We sent the letter to then Prime Minister Trudeau on behalf of these two Chinese-Canadian gentlemen. We didn't get much back. Margaret was quite persistent. She spoke up in the House the following year on the day of the Chinese New Year on behalf of these two Chinese-Canadian gentlemen, asking again publicly, asking the Canadian government to do what was right. And then, of course, it became public knowledge. It was reported in the media. CCNC in Toronto caught on the issue and advocated on behalf of the Chinese community and called upon head taxpayers to come forward or their descendants to come forward so that we would know how many people who paid the head tax will still be alive. Of course, for the head taxpayers, I think the most touching thing was how much hardship they have endured and how much they still believe in Canada. We never know whether we ourselves may be right or wrong. We can only try to do what we believe is right, but we should always keep some vigilance that our critics may in fact be more right than ourselves. So it's a more healthy situation when we can respect differences of opinion.